Welcome to my travels in Africa. I started off straight into South Africa and Johannesburg. These are some buskers in the streets of Johannesburg doing a great job entertaining the tourists. Really set the scene, the rhythm, the power of South Africa, which was to carry through as we move forward. Onwards and upwards. Our trip was taking us up from South Africa, Johannesburg, Soweto, up to Tanzania, then out to the Serengeti, finishing up in Zanzibah. But that's all to come. Just kids, really, but they're good at it. Look at that. Very cute. Busking, of course. And why not? The city, the heritage, the wealth, the mining history. Typical scenes around suburban Johannesburg. That's one of the leaders' homes. And the city looks like every other city. Then you get to Soweto. That's not typical Soweto. This is more like Soweto. Poverty, obvious, but open to the public, welcoming tourists to take a look. Always close by the past history of the struggle for freedom and the price paid. These two in particular. Contrasting the modern with the old. One of the resorts, 5-star resorts, very modern, and from the hilltop overlooking the city. Cecil John Rhodes. Beach towards the tip of Cape Horn. Wildlife pretty well everywhere. There's this unfinished freeway just standing out in the middle of nowhere. One of the nightclubs. And the carnivore restaurant, which sold massive amounts of all kinds of meat. Crocodile meat, buffalo meat, every kind of meat. Pork, steak, lamb, spare ribs, wings, everything, just in great amounts. Almost all you can eat. Very colourful, high protein, and one of the popular tourist attractions. All barbecued beautifully, very well cooked. And back into the streets and the usual tourist vendors selling whatever they can. Then was up to Tanzania and a long, bumpy road trip out to the Serengeti. Straight there, spare you that beautiful scenery, a wonderful Serengeti wildlife on the way, all around. Quite magnificent, really. When I was there, the wildebeest weren't happening, but everything else was pretty well available. Elephants everywhere, pink flamingos setting the colour scheme, and wild boar in the foreground, and the gentle elephants coming out of trees all around you. Just zebra, very common, and that colour scheme of brown and blue and pink. And of course pelicans. Zebra, up close and personal. And the rhinoceroses. Typical Serengeti landscape with the wildebeest, buffalo, and beautiful sunrises and sunsets. Giraffes, and of course, more difficult to find, lions, but they were there. And their prey cautiously waiting. And the predators. Elephant Rock. The wildlife are there if you're patient, just to wait and watch. And the king, Lion King. The rhino, elephants, and back to the resort. Stunning luxury in the middle of the wilderness. The market scenes, day-to-day trading, hard work, scenes all the way from the coast to the Serengeti. in a four-wheel drive Land Rover, shaking all the way. Terrible roads. This is where I bought some artwork. Still have that artwork. This is back at the resort, recovering from the heat in beautiful luxury. Typical Serengeti scenery. Elephants never too far away. These were taken from the Land Rover, from the track. Another one of the scenes, accommodation, music of course, and opportunities to meet the locals. All very well set up for tourism. Cheeky monkeys everywhere. Stunning sunsets. On the top of the Land Rover. Incredible rock formations, very picturesque. Stunning tree shapes. Love the shape of those trees. And another resort. And always dance and music for the tourists. Heading back, one of the major national parks on the way back to the coast from the Serengeti. A huge crater. We drove right down to the bottom of that crater with lots of wildlife in that natural reserve. Kilimanjaro National Park. And the wildlife everywhere to be seen, protected. The rhinos protected, and a traffic jam of tourist vehicles happened rarely. Hyenas and the buffalo herds. The marketplaces everywhere. Mixed with the colonial past. Very much a third world country, but with shades of modern architecture. And this was the flight to Zanzibah from the mainland. One of the exotic locations, stunning ships, sailing boats. And the night markets, which was so colourful, seafood markets at sunset, alive with people, smells of the sea and adventure. And this was the typical artwork which was available, original pieces, very inexpensive. One of the pizza sellers in the market. And of course the history of slavery, which was, a lot of it was based in Zanzibar, where they were gathered before being shipped around the world. Colonial past buildings were evident, right next to the modern yachts and ancient amphitheatres. Colonial meets the modern. Ancient ruins. I love these sailing boats, particularly at sunset. Fishing, I believe. More artwork. And Freddie Mercury made it very popular, made it famous. Lived there for quite a few years and is still revered. Fishing is the main industry. With tourism and resorts that equal any in the West. And check out the smile on this guy. Wow. He's not even trying. Amazing. This is on the east coast of Zanzibar, a different resort, away from the main town.